Okay, hey everybody. We are live. I'm going to be finishing up the second half of Skeletor today. I'm going to share this with the page real quick before I get started, and then we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. Dink. There we go. All right. Cool deal. So, hey Henry, thanks for jumping on, man. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be finishing up this Skeletor piece, and I'm going to be doing the Snake Mountain back here so that we can get all that going on. And I'm going to jump right into this thing because I want to get right into this detail work that I didn't do yesterday because time kind of ran out. And excuse my gnarly little buffer right here. This is to keep from smudging the graphite. I don't want to smudge it everywhere. But yeah, I got pretty close to an hour yesterday on this thing, and I didn't want to get too over, too far gone with it. Hey, Brian, Dave, Kevin, Kathleen, wow. Hey, Richard made it too. That's awesome. Giving you guys a little shout out for making it because I appreciate it. Believe me. Over the weekend when I did the He-Man piece, I felt a little lonely. There were a lot of crickets, especially with the Astros game and whatnot going on. A lot of people were asking me. One of my good buddies, Phil, he popped on and asked me flat out. He goes, "Man, why are you doing this card on the playoff day?" He said the World Series is playing off right now, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "I know," and I said that the Astros are going to do great this year, and I know they're going to win. And a plug to the Astros, great job. I'm not a real heavy sports guy anymore because I don't have a lot of time for it, but man, I just had to watch it. I had to watch it, and it was great. But and being a Texas boy, I got family that would resent me if I didn't. So, but there were a lot of open spaces and crickets with the weekend as I did the He-Man piece. But I want to kick this out. That's why I'm burning through this right now, because we've got about 2 cards worth of space here that I got to fill up. And now this bottom part is going to be abstract mountains and things like that because this is so small. But still, I want to make sure that you guys get the detail because I'm not going to cop out. Never copping out. And if I sound a little excited today, it's because of the fact that, one, I'm really, really, really happy to be doing this card. And 2 is I just got the proofs back for, which I'm not going to show yet. I just got the proofs back for my sketchbook for the sketch card series of Brad Linder Creating Comics. So you guys are going to get to see that come to life very soon. And I am ecstatic about that because I got a bunch of cards in there. I put them in various stages. I didn't go off and color everything like I normally do and like I used to do because I wanted to leave it in some transitional points, primarily because of the fact that it is a sketchbook and I wanted to keep it that way. I did that for multiple purposes. 1, to show the different phases, and 2, to keep away from some possible legal issues with doing an entire card series in fruition. So what we did was I went in and put in my legal team and I decided to publish it with in part so that it is a training manual so that you can see it in transition of the pencils and all that. And if you get the ebook version, there is also a really cool setup of all the videos for the cards that appear in the book. So you guys can go back and watch those. And I'm doing a special edition version of an elaborate version of the book, which you'll be able to get a hold of as well. That is tangible. It's going to be in print. It's going to be awesome. And if you get it, it's got a bonus DVD that comes in it, so you guys can get access to all of that as well, and watch it right at home if you want to. I mean, if you want to hang out and watch the show and see the card that you got or whatever, when the Kickstarter runs, you'll be able to see that video that comes with it, as well as the entire series and run anytime you want. Now, I know that's kind of it's not really a heavy produced show here. It's just me hanging out with you guys every day, but there's some tidbits. I will give credit to the fact that there are tidbits here and there in that offering. And you know, I hear all the time that people learn stuff from this thing, and I hope you get something out of it. But I decided to put copies of all of that in there, and then some special bonuses that you don't get to see, as in wallpapers and some special how-to stuff on there, and all kinds of cool stuff that are bonuses on those videos as well. So, and you'll have access links to that in the book as well if you get the digital version, as well as the print. But that specific DVD collection is going to have something unique that nobody else has. So if you don't get in on that, that'll be your loss. Sorry. Just got to be blunt about it. It'll be your loss. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get everybody everything. I really am. But it is what it is, and we got to move on. So, and I'm drawing a Skeletor Ramhead here for this crazy day. You guys are awesome. Okay, I'm going to kind of stagger this because these don't grow smooth. They grow an edge on them, but it's not 100%. It's not nice and even. These ridges grow all different scales and all different sizes and all different widths. A lot of people like to draw them uniform like they're metal, and they're not. They're not. Dang it, they're not. But anyway, all joking aside, I'm just trying to put some of this big detailing in here for all of this to pop out. I'm going to make these curve around a bit so it shows that side, but not the whole thing. And then we have this big bony protrusion right here. And I'm gonna, instead of going smooth, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some stress fractures from growth marks. These are actually growth marks, not fractures, because they're ridges where they come out of the port in the skull. And it's down behind that little ridge right there. So what I'm gonna do is put in these growth marks like that, and then I'm gonna put in the broken ridges because they grow not complete, and they grow incomplete, better term. Then they grow together and grow out like that, and that's how the new ones come in. That's why you see some rams that have these little bumps and ridges or divots or spots or look like extra horns maybe, and the reason for that is because of the roughness of that. So now with us seeing this curl right here, we won't see it on this side. So what we'll see instead is we'll see this underside. And these things grow out kind of like a fingernail. So what you're going to see here is this awkward kind of ribbing or ridging like that. Okay. And to make it look like an underside, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feather that in just a little. So now it looks like the ram horn is just all up in your business. Mr. Jim O'Reilly, everybody on Facebook, you guys, check out Nice Wonder Woman. Yeah, yeah, cheeky, very funny, haha. That's awesome, man. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Mr. Jim O'Reilly, Mr. Star Wars collectible card series and wood etching genius over there. If you're watching this episode later on YouTube, Mr. Jim O'Reilly, go on Facebook and check this guy out. And Jim is a good friend of mine, and the dude is awesome. He works for Topps and for Upper Deck and a couple of other companies here now and again, and has been working on anything from Star Wars to The Walking Dead to about pretty much anything else you can think of in the card collections world. That's my buddy. He's working on his own comic book here too, and has not shown me any pages. He's holding them. He's hiding them. He's being cheeky, but that's cool. And hey, man, what can I say? For everybody that gets upset about that, I apologize, because of the fact, you know, I give shout outs to people. I'm supporting it. It's always community over competition with me. And I totally believe that there's enough room for everybody. And if you don't believe it, check it out. You know, we're all here on one planet. So, hey. But, and if that's not enough evidence for you for the competition part of it in the industry, check this out. Circa 1957, when all the censorship came in and everything got filtered out, okay, in the mid-50s, with the, you know, with comics are cause communist and all that mess going on, check it out. Do your history, do your due diligence, and you'll find out that circa 1957, late 56, if you want to get technical on the date, because I think it was around October, November of 56 when they all finally fell off. At that time, from 1941 to 1956, there were over 300 independent comic book publishers in America and Canada. And there were even 2 in Mexico, I believe. And we're talking mainstream. We're talking like Marvel quality. We're talking mainstream, not joking at all, man. So, you know, anytime anybody says that, oh, you can't make it, everybody's got all the same ideas, you know, and blah, 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 and, you know, you can't do a comic book because it's too close to this one, or you know, this publisher said I suck at this, and that's a technical term. You know what? That's okay. Everybody has a different voice and a different vibe into what their relationship with comics is. So don't let anybody tell you any different, and do your thing. There's room for everybody. So what if somebody looks close to somebody else? There's only so many ideas that we can do as human beings in this world and make it functional. It's all about your original approach, okay? I see that in marketing all the time. So, you know, if somebody says, well, that looks like Batman. No, Batman looks like my character, so bite me. And, you know, move on. Don't take it personal, and get out there and create your stuff. Don't let anybody hold you back. Life's too short for that crap. Life is entirely too short to be messing with other people and holding them back that way. And all of my parents, take this as a footnote too, you know? If you got a kiddo, I tell my daughter, I would never hold my daughter back from anything. Ever. And if you tell your kid that circumstances hold them back, and, you know, we can't do that because, or we can't do that because, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. Make a comic book with them. Have fun. Make a family legacy. Make a comic book. Make family circle of yourself, you know. And I tell you, if you're an artist or a writer, one of the most impressive things you can do as a parent is to create a comic book of your kid's goofiness or imaginary friend or whatever, and go on CreateSpace, throw a book up there, and I tell you what, kick out a quick issue. It's worth $5. I promise you, it will change your relationship with your child. But anyway, I know that was a sideways curve on that one, but that's all right. That's what we do here. So I'm all excited because of the fact that, like I said, I got the sketchbook in, which I'm still not going to show even though people have asked me about it. And I also got some of the proof prints for the comic book, and for one of my comics that's out. And then on top of that, believe it or not, I wrote 4 books this weekend. I wrote one that was over 500 pages, and it ended up breaking down into 4 different smaller books. It's insane. They're about 150 pages a piece, and I sent them over to my publisher, and they are all talking about how cool it is and whatnot. And we've ended up making a series out of them. So I'm happy with that. That was a side note that came out this week. Because for those guys that know that I do marketing and things like that, these are marketing books. And they're big, massive self-help stuff. And that's part of it. And my publisher decided to pick those up. So I wanted to drop that bomb on everybody today, too. This is how productive I am all the time, people. So what you're getting right now is me in the zone, as it were. And you guys will get to reap the rewards of that very soon, so that we can get that out there and share it. And we have Snake Mountain coming in silhouette form back here. I love raising the snake off of this thing because as a kid, I always thought that, Snake Mountain had variations. And in season 1 of He-Man, when you watch Snake Mountain, when it appears, it's actually raised up. And then when you see it later in seasons, it's down inside that crevice right there. So whenever you're drawing your version or rendition of this thing, go off and pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm switching gears, by the way. I know that was kind of quick, but yep. Switching back to the artwork. Whenever you're doing your own rendition of stuff, it doesn't have to be exact, and don't go as literal unless it's like a project where someone's paying you to be that exact with it. Don't go so tooth and nail that you have to say, it has to be exact, or I can't do that if it's not exact, and blah, blah, blah. I see people do that all the time. But working with friends that work in the tattoo industry and things like that, sometimes you get a client that'll be, all about having it perfect. And then you'll get something that they want an interpretation of. And we need to do more of that in comics. A lot of people are so strict on it, and they bust chops about it. It's not perfect. Yeah, relax. It's just comics. Do your interpretation and let it go. Rock it out, rock it out, rock it out. But I've been telling everybody that I wasn't going to do an exact match, and I don't intend to. So now when I ink this, I'll highlight it from underneath where the lava is, like that. But most of this will be dark, because that's just the way it goes. I'm going to carve this in here. What I'm doing here is there's some pointy spots in the rock, and I'm putting those there because they'll be highlights later for this portion. I know I'm swinging this thing all over the place. It's like Tarzan going out for a swing after he's had a couple of pints of coconut ale. So that's something my kid brother and I used to do all the time. We used to make fun of the weekends when you saw those old Abbott and Costello movies, or the the Laurel and Hardy movies, or you'd see like the old monster movies and whatnot, or those old Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan films, that kind of stuff. We used to make fun of that stuff all the time, just goofy stuff like that. That's where that came from. So you got to peek into my childhood and my sense of humor a little bit. So be afraid. Be very afraid. Because as my close friends that are on here know, this is how I am all the time. He's constantly wired. The man needs Ritalin. But I'm going to do the mouth here of Snake Mountain right here. There's a little peak right there where it breaks. And then there's this weird little rock right here at the end. And I don't know why they did that. I don't know if they just did that to offset the depth perception of it. But this is supposed to be part of the snake coming down and around here. And it goes down and around through the rock, comes up over here, and comes down and around. And there's the opening cave right here. So you can see the snake go down around this way, go down over here. He's supposed to curl back over here, come down through here, and then peek down through the mountain. And then he comes back up here out front to make the entry to the cave. And there's another ridge of stones and rocks and things like that right here that make up another layer of the mountain. It's almost like a little path that goes further around the mountain. I find that these little tidbits where it interconnects like that is always the coolest stuff to me. Just phenomenal. Yes, I've seen the Geico commercial. Kevin just asked me if I saw the Geico commercial. Yes, I saw the Geico commercial for He-Man where they got licensing to do it. And it shows pretty much 4 or 5 characters after Skeletor and asking him why they shouldn't abolish him, and he recommends Geico and flies off in a rocket pack. Freaking hilarious. And when I first saw that commercial, I actually froze because I didn't move. I swear, I was like a 5-year-old. I didn't move an inch until it was over, and I realized it was a Geico commercial because I thought they were bringing He-Man back in the original style for about 10 seconds. I had to listen to this thing because I caught it out of the corner of my eye from across the room as I was passing the television. Matter of fact, I remember exactly where I was. I was in the kitchen and I was passing the living room, and it came on the screen, and I just froze right there. I was like, okay, I'm not moving until this is done. I got to figure out what's going on with this thing. But yeah, it looks great. It was a funny commercial. Geico does really good for commercials and stuff like that anyway. But yeah, that one was a classic for our generation for sure. Anybody over that 35 mark, that's pretty much where you're at. That's what I mean by your generation, our generation. You're part of it. Sorry. Hang with it. Accept it. Move on. I had someone ask me to update my Facebook picture the other day because they saw me in a webinar, and it was funny because I don't do on-screen face stuff much, except for business meetings and videos and things like that. And they asked me to update it because she was so kind about it. She told me I looked really, really sharp because I just got my hair cut. And since I turned 41 this last September, just this month or two, a couple of months back now, I turned 41 and my mustache went from brown to like salt and pepper white. Whoa. And I was like, good God, I look like my dad. And so, because my dad's white as Santa Claus. I mean, he is just like white. His hair, his goat, all of it, just white. And at least he's still got a full head of hair, though. Got to give him credit for that. But yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. Age sneaks up on you a little bit, and I am in no way, form or fashion old. I'm probably in one of the healthiest spots I've ever been in since, you know, my younger days when I did soccer and martial arts and all that crap. But that's a technical term too, by the way. But yeah, I see that kind of thing all the time. But it was nice to get complimented because it's you can have those days, you know, being on the internet and on interactive points like that where people see you all the time, you can get points to where you feel really, really down. It's just like, I feel so old. But I don't, though. I don't. I'm one of those people. I'll be 75 years old, still kicking around as long as I'm able. You know, one of my biggest things is I don't want to age badly to where I can't do anything and I have to lay there and some, you know, some pretty little nurse has to come in and feed me and, you know, take care of me at the old folks home. No, man. I want to burn up and burn out before then. So that's mission in life right there. That's a mission in life. Now I'm going to come back over here to this. Before I get back into Skeletor here down here in the bottom, I'm going to go back over here and get some of this stuff going with the backside of this mountain, because this is something we don't ever get to see except for the big portraits and things like that. And the funny thing about the playset is they had that goblin face or whatever it was, that big purple face. You guys remember that? I see that all the time with that playset, and this is never even on it. It looks nothing like this. I mean, it's got a snake head on it, and it's got a wolf's head microphone set that goes with it. And I see people collect that all the time. And it's like, that's not Snake Mountain. I had so many people get mad at me because their version of Snake Mountain was from the toy set, not from what you see in the cartoon from the animated series. So I found that very humorous. I had one lady actually get mad at me. That's not Snake Mountain. Snake Mountain is the purple goblin looking face. I was like, oh my goodness, really? It's like, calm down, calm down. I'm not going to let my son watch this crap. Okay, I'm sorry. Your son's going to miss out. Because this is what it is on the series. It really is. You can check it for yourself. That's what YouTube's for. YouTube's not just about watching my show. It's about watching research stuff. You can do it. It's awesome. You can do it. I just gave myself away there. Rob Snyder in just about every Adam Sandler film from the beginning that he cameoed in, he always had somebody, he always played off characters and background comedy characters. And a lot of times after Waterboy, he created that character for that Cajun guy that would come up and, you can do it. Isn't that one of the old guys from Grown Ups? This is the world we're in, people. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this rock face is I'm going to leave this alone right here, and I'm going to go right in here, put a couple little pieces right there to augment just a little. But I'm going to leave this open, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here like that and cut it, because I'm going to put a rock right there to where it's going to go down and just into one of the lava pits. Boom, right there. I'm going to do that right back here too. I'm going to make it look like he's going to be standing up here on one of the rock ledges. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make this come out and look like some of these classic lava pits where the Snake Mountain and some of the ground has been eaten out by the hot lava from underneath. put that edge right there for that pocket. Cut that back just a little bit. And then I'll go in there. Yeah, over last weekend, I got asked a couple times, so I'll say something about it. These books weren't exactly overnight, but they just came together this weekend is what happened. I had a tight zone of work time, and I thought, I'll put in the 48 hours this weekend over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I put in 48 hours of work that I clocked. And I tell you what, man, I did not sleep at all this last weekend. If I did, and I was even under the weather, man. I was even under the weather. I had a mild 24-hour bug thing going on, with the weird groggy head and fever, light fever thing going on, the bad thumping headache. And luckily I didn't get sick or anything like that, but it was just a weird time, and I felt so bad. But all I did was sit in front of the drafting table, and where we are right now, by the way, and just hammer it out, man. I was bound and determined. I'm like, you are not going to get me sick. I'm going to stay awake as long as I need to till I'm exhausted, so I'm too tired for you to live in me. You are not going to make me sick. I'm going to beat this daggum bug. And I did. But the point was that I had 4 books because I laid them all out at once. And that's one thing. Let me grab you guys something real quick. See, here's a surprise. Look, real quick. Just a real quick glance. Right there. Right? That's the black and white proof of the cover test that I just got. I'm not going to show you the colored version, but that was the Lone Rider cover for the book that I'm about to release on my Kickstarter. And that was one of the books that I finished up this last weekend, and then I sent off an express order for some proofs and paid through the nose for them, unfortunately, but that's the way it works, and got them sent back, and they came in last night. But yeah, that was one of those things, man. I had to get that book done, and I draw my books like Jack Kirby used to. I lay out the whole book and completely done. I pencil in everything, lay it all out like I do these cards. And I mentioned that a couple times. I go on and I take a stack of pages, and I'll take the script with all my thumbnails, lay it down here, sketch everything out, and then I have the entire book done, all the layout work's done, all the hard work's done. Then I get to go in and have the fun of penciling it up and directing it like I do for these cards for you guys. And I had basically 6 books laying like that at the time, and I grabbed the first 4 and I just went to town, and it was one after another and after another. And when I got in the zone, before I knew it, it was Sunday afternoon, and I had to get ready for The Walking Dead because that's one of my television vices. I am addicted to that show, and Kirkman is an awesome dude. I don't know him very well. I've talked to him a couple times on the internet. I haven't gotten a chance to meet him personally yet. Awesome guy. Love the show, and I'm a huge supporter of it. And it's just something that fascinates me. I love zombie stuff and horror stuff anyway, but that particular show has such a depth to it with the characters of the human side. That's something I just get really drawn into. But anyway, yeah, I had to get it done, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I realized that, oh no, the show's going to come on here in a little while. I've got to get this done. And I ended up knocking out an extra 3 pages that afternoon, before and after The Walking Dead, just to get it done. So whenever Talking Dead was on, I was driving everybody crazy because of the fact that I was still on during it and still drawing. Because a lot of people say that, The Walking Dead is not the show, The Talking Dead is. But, I like Chris Hardwick. He's funny. But that's one of those things. But, yep, it was a long weekend. And then after about another page or two afterward. About midnight, I hit the pillow, man, and I don't ever go to sleep before 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because I have chronic insomnia. I have had since I was a little kid, and I sleep a lot less than most people. But I'm in bed by 2 or 3 and up at 7. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. I get about 4.5, maybe 5 hours if I'm lucky. But and I get the same amount of sleep in that time that most people do in the 8 or 9 hour night. But yeah, it kicked in, man, and I was all over the place. It was crazy. I was doing everything. And I was doing pencils. I did inks. I penciled one book and inked it, and then penciled 2 more and laid out and penciled the final one right before. So Catman number 4, Catman Evolution number 4 is done. And then I've got one called Only the Strong that's about to come out. And that one's going to be fun for people. Then I've got the webcomic, which I'm doing that in standard format, and that's coming out for you guys as well. So I did number 2 of that one. Yeah, number 2 of that one. Had to think about that. What issue am I on? Yeah, I did number 2 of that one. So, and the only reason you haven't got number 1 yet is because I'm still waiting for it to be colored. So that's why. So I don't want a bunch of people freaking out on me. Man, why did you do number 1? Why don't you let number 1 go? You've been talking about the dadgum webcomic for a month. Yeah, it's been a little bit longer than that actually, but. So now we're going to get back down to Skeletor here a little bit. And I'm going to tweak on him a little. This one's pretty cool, man. This is coming off pretty quick. I know I'm kind of all over the place today. It's awesome. I love being like this, though. Because when I'm in the zone like this is when I do the most productive stuff, and that's when you guys want to get me, because that's when you'll get the most information, because I'm excited to share it. And when I'm in the zone like that, that's when I give out the most information, because of the fact that I don't care. I really don't. Okay. I'm going to go down here, put in some of these straps. He's a strapping young lad. And I'm not going to nick that card already. And it's okay if that's kind of crooked right there. And the reason I do that, I just let that go wherever it wants to go, is it goes with the flow of the card, for one thing. For 2 is because of the fact that that's a visual effect, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that. But I'm going to tell you something really cool about that. Whenever you're doing leather or anything like that, and you get out of line with it, and it goes crazy and it goes askew, understand that the polish of that leather, that's a natural organic material. So what's going to happen is it's going to have divots and ridges and all that mess in it. And then when you do that, you're going to be able to get that natural effect because of the fact that those lines will replicate that by default in the paper. So write it out. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it, because imperfection is perfection. So just a little tidbit there. And it's all about production, not perfectionism anyway, so we're not going to get tied into that, and that's where we're at. So I'm going to put in a couple of these real quick just to kind of pop that up to show that it's something different. And I'm going to come across here very gently because I want to show that to lean into his chest here, but not look like a pectoral, because it's not. I don't want it to look like the pectoral muscle because it's not. And like I said, we don't want that to divot too bad, because if it does, then it won't look right. It won't highlight right, because we don't want it to be cut form to his chest. We want it to be like pressed leather. So you got to leave that alone. That's why I'm leaving that open instead of shading it in, because we don't need that. The color will give that to us without us pressing it too much. Okay. Let me see here. Make sure I got all the straps in. That. Okay. Now I've got to shadow one side of this bone here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a little bit right there. And then a little nick right here in the corner. And we're going to leave that alone because that's bone and I don't want it to start to look like wood. Because a lot of people will overwork that and it'll start to look like a wood texture rather than a bone texture. It's very, very thin lined between crossing over because then it'll look like a stick sticking out of there and you don't want that. I see that kind of thing all the time. One of my favorite artists of all time, Mr. Wally Wood, would go through just ages and put in all this little fine refinement work to make it look like bone rather than wood. And sometimes he would shade, he would shade like this with lines and all these different textures and things. And when it came out, man, I mean, his stuff looked like if it was a stick, it looked like a stick. If his stuff was wood, it looked like wood. If it was a bone, it actually looked like it came out of a human being or an animal. It definitely looked like the part that it came across as. And that's something I picked up from him years ago. I got to watch him do a painting, which was very rare. And when he did it, he gave some tips on lighting and textures, and I was just mind blown. Because it was rare for him to do painted pieces like that anywhere. But that was just something that was cool. So, let me see here. Got the shoulder. Yeah, we're going to shade in the shoulder a little bit, make that pop out of there because it looks a little flat back there. Now, whatever you do with shoulder, because of the deltoids, check this out. Here's a little secret. Because of the tendons right here, you could pop in a little hook like that, okay? And then do this one. And you'll see people shade like that all the time for shoulders. And the reason they do that is because it gives that illusion of that muscle right in here. And then there's that tendon right there that goes between. There's that muscle fiber right there because the front deltoid is actually split into, I think it's thirds. And it goes to this big piece down here. It goes to the little divide right there. And then it has the bigger piece on top. And then it leads right into the top delt. And it goes to the front, to the middle, to the back. And if you do that, this top deltoid actually overlaps. And that's why this one gets squished out in front. And if you do that little divot right there, it'll change the game for you. I don't know why, but other than the fact of compression, and it shows that little, like I said, it gives it that little abstract pop for the muscle that you're not refining, and it just makes it pop out. And see what I'm talking about? See, it makes that pec look rounded, and it makes that shoulder muscle just boom. And I do not know why. I don't know the illusion that it causes, but I'm not that scientific about it either. I don't go that intense with it. But as long as it works, I'm trying to keep from touching this graphite as much as possible because I don't want to smudge everything. All right, cool deal. Now what I'm going to do back here is, like I said, I'm going to keep this kind of open. I'm going to come in here, and I think I'm going to cut it back like right there. And then we'll put it off that way. Show you guys a neat lava trick. I'm channeling my inner Jim O'Reilly right now because he yeah, my buddy Jim, he loves to hum when he's working. If you ever check this guy out, he hums a lot. Okay, now you see that ridge right there, right? Well, what we'll do is we'll come in, because these are small pockets. I'll come in here and do this number. And now it looks like we have catacombs or crevasses. So that we have all that going on, and you guys can see the lava coming down and around like that. Gotta offset that just a little, so that's a little heavy there. Now what I'll do is I'll come out and put a line right down here. And I'll make it look like it's in the shadow of that curve for that piece. Kind of make that look like rock a little bit there. I'm going to make this one look like it's broken right there. And because the lava is coming up from underneath and our light's coming down from this way and this way, it won't show that light down there. So it'll make that look dark, like it's chipped in. And we'll add a little edge to it so that it looks like it's underneath and a big chunk of rock just fell out of there. Okay. Now, classic He-Man 3-point rock sticking up here. I tell you what, if you guys get a chance, check out Rob Liefeld's new stuff, because he started working with this classic look. It's almost like the 90s style stuff that he used to do in X-Force and New Mutants, versus the abstract mountains and whatnot like he used to do when they had all the mountain bases against the Mutant Liberation Front and all that mess. And then his modern style, like he did on Hawkman, where it's kind of everything's bulked out and lively like that. His new Deadpool stuff is coming out, and he's doing a lot of special edition stuff and doing the X-Force book now. And I hear he's coming back to do a couple of things on that. I haven't found any solid stuff yet as to show that he's coming back on it, but they're saying right now at Marvel that he may be popping up for a cameo and doing a little bit more in a couple of the books, since they're bombing right now. The X-Force book is taken back off with the original team, and they're talking about bringing it back and whatnot. And with the stuff he's got going on at Extreme, where he's re-released, what was that other team title he had at Image that he's got going on right now? They're at 5 or 6, I think it is. Maybe issue 7 of Youngblood that he's brought back. And they're talking about him coming back on to do something like that to revitalize some of this other stuff, with the new movie coming out for Deadpool 2 coming up, and all that mess coming out. So you guys watch it, because he's showing off a lot of cool Deadpool sketches right now. And if you like him or not, still support the industry. You know what I mean? Be respectable. I mean, don't go off and I hate Rob Liefeld. I hear that all the time. It's just, come on. He's a fellow creator, whether you like his stuff or not. If it resonates with you, awesome. I'm a fan from way back when, because of the fact that I followed him from Hawk and Dove from back when he started over at DC, and I just got hooked. Of course, he made Hawk look, he made Hawk look just like the total, just Terminator that he was, and he made Dove look cool. So you got to give him credit. He was the one that changed that helped divide the original Dove into the female version and ran with that. And I tell you what, man, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Okay, we are about 50 minutes into this, people, and I am going to call it quits right there because I don't want to overwork this because there's a little bit of detail in this one. I hope you dig it. So I am going to be doing a bunch of stuff here. And Mr. Kevin, just to let you know, buddy, I did not miss your post there. Let me, if you're watching this on YouTube later, he says, let me know if I can do any art for your Kickstarter. I so appreciate that. I will take you up on that. I do mean that. I appreciate that, man, so much. Thank you. I love what you're doing with the cards and stuff. And yeah, you bet. I'd be happy to have you on. Now, I'm going to pull an animator trick to finish this off. I'm going to pull an old animation trick, okay? This is something I used to do all the time with stuff when I would do shorts and things like that, when I used to work on videos and junk. And I'm gonna show you guys something cool. Let me get the 9 here because I'm gonna pop it out. And I know a lot of people are like so cool with the thin line modern layout, but I still think this is the best way to go when you're doing comic books. And people just don't think so. You know, a lot of people don't agree with it, but that's okay because I'm going to tell you, my stuff will pop out. And yours will too if you use the technique. Just go around your main character in the foreground. Now, don't do this with everything and don't do it all the way through, but just add a little bit more meat to the line on the outside. Because when you outline it, it's going to have, you know, a lot of people will say, well, it's going to have a coloring book effect. It's going to pop it out and it's going to make it look weird. Well, watch this thing beef up as I go around this thing, all right? And then we're going to call it a day. So all I'm doing is darkening this up and thickening it up just a little bit. Because most people say, well, the colors will take care of that. Well, what are you going to do if it's black and white? You know, how are you going to make it look that way? And like I said, I'm not going too deep with it. I'm not going crazy. I'm just going right around the edge and putting a little bit of a thicker line around the outer edge, just like this. Because I see people tell me all the time, you know, you're not going to make that work and it's not going to look right and you're going to make it heavy. And look, just watch. Just watch. Watch and learn. Watch and learn. The proof is in the pudding. All my millennial fans just freaked out. We don't eat pudding. That's got sugar in it. See there? See how that's coming up? You guys can see what's happening now. You guys are smart and slick. You got this, so I'm not worried about it. Just make sure you get all of the outside. Okay? Just make sure you get all of it. That's the other ram horn, by the way. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in on this side, right underneath his beak right here, along that tooth. I'm serious. You don't have to cut into your line work and get all weird with it. You just outline that outer edge just a little bit. I'm going to keep going because I want to make this happen. And I want to show this effect. You just cross it over just a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to go up over his shoulder guard right here. And on this thumb right here. And now I'm going to go up over the hood, and you guys are going to love this. If you like this effect, you will love this, because this is how it's just going to make him pop off. And so many people say not to do this because of the fact that it makes it look like a coloring book, or, you know, it over thickens the line and it over separates, and, you know, it makes him look like a sticker as an overlay. And no, it doesn't. Not if you do it right and you don't go into your line work. If you keep it just as an outline, it's a totally different beast. Now, we have Skeletor popping off. You guys can see that, right? I hope that shows. So, I hope that shows. I'll slow down here so my camera can adjust. It's motion censored, so it responds to the light there. But I got something else to do right back here. I know I said I was going to call it a day, but I want to make sure that that is in. Then we'll just put just a little bit of a shadow right there on that side, and right in there to pop that up a little bit. And then right back here. Pop in those. Now see, you guys can see that pops out, right? That's the way that works. Whenever you do it, that comes right off. So, but this is where we're going to call it a day, folks. And I appreciate your time on it. Thank you very much. I'm going to draw in all the clouds and stuff as I ink it with the coloring and whatnot. And I hope it looks cool. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow with a new piece. We will be moving into something else, and back with another card as always. And be nice, smile, be nice to people, say something good, give somebody a hug, do something nice for somebody that they don't expect it, and you know, make the world a cooler place than you got it. That's something that we got to do. So take care. Talk to you tomorrow.